Yes, good afternoon. My name is Michael Clark. I hope you like this program. This is a game between Nikitin or Nikitin and Mikhail Tal. So I hope you like this game. This game was played in 1959 in the 26th U.S.S.R Chess Championships that was played in Tiflis. So here we go. Let's get into it. This is with Mikhail Tal being black. And as you are aware, I am continuing to concentrate on that of Mikhail Tal, because who else can I bring to the floor or to the fore? Here we go, let's go. So this is a sort of a nod off, especially with e6, but Tal plays knight bd7. So here we got e6. This is the normal nod off poisoned pawn variation, which is f4, queen b6, which I know that Mikhail Tal and Bobby Fischer used to enjoy this encounter. So here's where the book stops for this, but this is where the games begin. This is just as crazy to have to know as the King's Gambit was in its time. So here we have knight bd7 played by Tal. Bishop c4, getting into sort of rook to Rosa sort of territory, and we have queen a5, which is obviously attacking the bishop that is loose on g5. So queen d2 also defends against the threat of knight takes e4 possibly, which up till now, after queen d2, up till then, it was possible, sort of. So here we've got e6, which is very sensible, because black's also stopping white from being able to place pieces in here. And in the Sicilian Defence, there is a book that I've got in my cupboard that I hardly look at, which is Sacrifices on the Sicilian and the Sicilian. And this is one of the sacrifices in the Sicilian. And this is one of the sacrifices in the Sicilian, and other ones are too. And then there's black ones have got rook takes c3, and other ones as well. But primarily they're sort of like white ones, like white can capture this b5 pawn with their minor pieces. So forward onto the game. So we have castles, h6 and bishop h4 and bishop e7. Does it make a difference? Now we have the variation that Tal recommended was rook a d1. However, white played the young Russian master played back then, 1956, 59, is it 1959? Yeah, and it's the 26th, played rook ae1. So this gives black the opportunity to have a strong hold, as the book says, of the knight on e5 sort of thing, and then the rest is history. So knight e5 comes about as promised, bishop c4, as the knight is basically attacking the bishop. And notice that also this white squared bishop of black's is looking after the e6 issue that can be an issue in the Sicilian defence. So here comes bishop g3, bishop d7, f4. So Kasparov, no, Tal takes on f4, so that there's no pawn telling the knight on e5 to move away. Bishop f4, and now we have what? What would we play now? I think it's rook g8. Oh, it's queen c7. Maybe white was thinking black's going to go. Black was thinking white's going to be able to go here and swap off, because the queen on a5 is attacked by the queen on d2 and guarded at the same time. So if queen d2, then white can play knight f6 and bishop d2. That's just my analysis, don't take my word for it. So here's queen c7 and here's knight f3. So this knight on e5 is bothering white, I think, but it's not exactly clear what way to go. But I think white is met with castling now. Yes, long castling, and the book goes without any detail that this isn't very good for for white in a couple of moves time or so. Black leaves their bishop on e7 to protect this knight on f6 should there be any sort of opening up of the rook attack on the knight on f6 disguised. So king h1 and rook hg8, bishop e3 and bishop c6. Sticking to centralization, not some of the moves that I would think of playing would be a move like this or similar. And so here it's no good for white to take this h pawn, because that's like cutting off the tiger's whiskers. It's going to have a response from black, the ferocious magical artist of tactical chess. So here we go, bishop c6, which of course attacks the e pawn as well. So what does white do? Plays queen d4, defend it. Yes, I'll give anyone that, but white is met with different thoughts from black. Rook g6, and here comes queen rook e2 first, and then rook doubles on the g file, and queen a7. Now here is where Tal works out a combination. Obviously we can take that pawn on e4, but what happens afterwards? If we take that pawn on e4, what happens in the aftermath of taking on e4? One, the bishop diagonal is going to be a little bit more open, because there's one less thing in the way of the king on h1. But bishop e4, as you could denote, is not one of the moves here. The move that black plays here is knight e4. And now we have a queen sacrifice. What better is there to play on the chessboard than a queen sacrifice? Here, it's the sort of thing my friend in Dunedin does all the time, doesn't stop sacrificing her respective king, queen. So here we have a variation here. We go down, the main variation is knight e5, and then we have d e5 and rook f7, and knight c3 and bc3 and queen d6. This looks quite threatening. but also black is being threatened too. There are some nasty things happening here. So here we got bishop a4. That looks a wee bit odd, but it's actually quite good. Now we have bishop a4, rook d2. It looks like white's just trying to get out of the way of the trying to get away from, now I'm starting to burble. If the queen moves away, then we have a very powerful check with queen a8, I believe. So here black plays queen d2, bishop d2. This is all analysis still. Rook g2, queen a8. Now we have the main variation, king c7, and the other variation is this. And then we have, is that the main variation? No, I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I think I might be bungling it. I don't think that's the main variation. So we have to think about what we do. If queen a7, then black goes king c7. That looks almost crazy. And then white takes on e7. I'll just check where instead of queen a8 it goes rook e7. So instead of queen a8, if rook c7, rook e7, then we have rook g1 check, forcing queen takes queen, and then we have bishop c6 check, and then the queen has to interpose on g2, and then we have bishop g2. I'm on a wing here. Bishop g2 check, or rook g2, threatening the lovely rook d2 on the bishop, or similar, or rook to g3 checkmate. So if you can bear with me on that. Sorry about that analysis. So we have queen a8, king c7, and now king d6, and here, similar to before, black has a 1 position, even though white has just picked up just about all the pieces. So what would black be met with possibly here is this. No good, because of rook g1 checkmate. So queen here, other than other crazy moves, queen here, and then we have this, I believe, is what the book gives, and bishop here, and I think that they consider that final. So now I will go back to the main line. Bishop b6. Now Tal enters into uncharted territory and waters and all that sort of stuff. Goes knight c3 and bishop c7. Now if knight e5, we will just deviate slightly here, is the following: knight e2, knight g6, rook g6, bishop c7, and everyone can see checkmate with bishop g2 checkmate. Rook g2 check, almost, not really. And here we have if knight e5, everyone can see checkmate on the spot, is the following: rook g1 checkmate, double check, and checkmate burger. So that will not do. So here we have the main line, which is bishop a4, which is distracting this white squared bishop of blacks. And here we have rook g1 check. To think that this Mikhail Tal sees all this sort of stuff. Rook g1, and you're going, bishop g1, why not? Because rook g1, of course. But then what about just queen g1? Rook g1 is no good because bishop f3, rook g2, knight f4, and this is very, very fun for black. Queen g1. Now we have a little bit of a kind of an intermediate move with bishop f3 check. Now either the queen interposes or we take that bishop offending with rook f3, and then we have knight g1, knight and rook c3, and I even picked this move. I found king d8, possibly because I showed my juniors about when did I show them? 4th of October 1991 at my home in Riga, Christchurch, way back then, where my juniors would pay $2 a time, a Friday night, to come to my home and get coached. King g1, and it might have done some of them some good and some of them some not so good. d5, I'm only joking, it was really, really good for them. Bishop g5, and here we have b4. This is a move that they say weakens white's queenside pawns. So we have b4, and then we have b5, and then we have f5, and this is looking very comfortable for black because they've got 6 versus 4 pawns, but they have got the exchange down for white's rook. But look at these pawns. Have a look. f4. This pawn is forcing white to move it somewhere. Their only best spot is h3. Other moves promote, if rook g2, and that would definitely promote the idea of f3 and maybe even bishop e3 check, or forking or pinning or whatever the rook on f2 with bishop e3. So rook h3, and then we have knight c4, and here we have bishop c4, b c4, rook h5, bishop f6, rook h6, bishop c3. This is just analysis, and that's where that analysis ends, as even though white has 2 flank pass pawns, these 4 pawns ultimately win over the 2 pass pawns of white. So rook h5 and bishop f6. Here we have the main line which did occur, and we have, I believe, e5 now. Yes, a lot of these pawns are just like so aggressive. Here we have bishop c4 and b c4, and then rook h5, and here it's close to adjournment. Okay, so e4 and h4 f3 check, and here's bishop f4, and here's where the game was finished. But the analysis goes forward from here, because this is where it was actually adjourned. So this is what Tal would have played as bishop e5, and then d4, I think, or white could get met with just king f6, e6. We want to go f6 or f5, don't we? We want to do chomp in one move. But the book sort of has a mistake here and goes d4, bishop d4, and there is the end of the book's analysis. Hope you enjoyed that game. Very, 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 very crazy, tactical, wonderful, magical. The Magician of Riga, Mikhail Tal. Hope you enjoyed.